Justice is blind, or at least that's what they tell us. But what happens when the law recognizes your surname, or does not? Have you ever been in a situation where life asked you, "Who is your father?" State your experience in the comments section. While we explore what happens when a young law student confesses to murder, then stands in court and says, "My lord, I didn't do it," and the judge replies, "Sit down." This is the story of Chinedu, a driver's son, a political dynasty, a dead billionaire's daughter, and 15 years inside prison for a crime he never committed. This is the Fall Guy. In Delacroix, on a quiet stretch near Bourdillon Road, stood a house no one drove past casually, the Bayonese estate. There were two houses on the same land. One stood tall, made of glass and pride. The other, made of cement and silence, stood small, hidden behind beautiful vineyards and gardens, never seen from outside. The Bayonese estate stretched across acres of land, vineyards, imported marble floors, fountains shaped like angels, gates that opened with fingerprint scanners. Their names sat on hospitals, oil corporations, real estate chains, international trade boards. They did not introduce themselves. People already knew. Inside that mansion, luxury wasn't enjoyed. It was expected. The Bayonese children never poured their own water, never washed their own plates, never ironed their clothes. They complained about the air conditioning temperature. They did not know what hunger felt like. They did not know what debt meant. They did not know what fear looked like when rent was due. Chief Funde Bayonnaise, former Minister of Petroleum, now a kingmaker in national politics, oil blocks, construction contracts, ports, telecommunications stakes. His signature could move billions. His wife, lawmaker in Delacroix, Dr. Latia Bayonnaise, elegant, strategic, untouchable. They had Follet, 24 years, the first son, arrogant, reckless, entitled, violent in temper, failed business school twice but blamed professors, addicted to power, alcohol, being feared, addicted to nightlife, failed 2 postgraduate programs in the UK, known in every club in the city. Lucian, 23 years, the second son. Quiet, but cruel in subtle ways, manipulative. Smiled while others suffered. Camille, 21 years. The elder daughter, image-obsessed, influencer, shallow but strategic. Elodie, 18 years, the youngest, spoiled, entitled, dangerous in innocence, sharp-tongued, reckless with privilege. They were raised to inherit empires, not consequences. They had never entered a danfo, never queued for fuel, never feared police checkpoints. Now behind the estate, past the trimmed hedges, past the rose gardens, past the generator house and security quarters, sat a small 2-bedroom staff quarters. That was where Miriam lived. Miriam had served the Bayonnaise family before Follet was born. She bathed his father as a baby. She held Camille when she had fevers. She buried the grandparents who once treated her like invisible furniture. She was called chief maid, not out of honor, out of longevity. Her husband, Kunle, was the estate's chief driver and ground supervisor. He fixed generators, maintained cars, managed logistics quietly. They had 4 children, Chinedu, 22, first son, brilliant, studying law at a federal university on partial scholarship. Emeka, 19, science-minded, quiet. Seiyai, 16, creative, observant. Ada, 14, outspoken and protective. They wore clothes passed down from the Bayonnaise children, old iPhones with cracked screens, textbooks with missing pages, shoes slightly too big. But Chinedu was different. He was top of his class, and Follet hated that. Every time Follet returned from London with academic warnings, he would throw assignments at Chinedu. "Guy, handle this thing for me." And because Miriam feared losing her job, she made Chinedu do all his assignments, not for Follet, for his parents. But there was something heavier. 2 years before everything collapsed, Kunle had been driving Follet home from Seelox. Follet was drunk. He insisted on speeding or threatened to take the wheel. The Prado crashed into a barrier on 3rd Mainland Bridge. The repair bill was astronomical. Chief Bayonnaise didn't shout. He smiled and handed Kunle a document. "You'll work it off." The amount was impossible. Even if Kunle worked until death, debt became silent chains. Around the same time, Kunle developed pulmonary fibrosis, a lung disease from years of generator fumes. Treatment required private hospital care, which required money, which required Mercy. Mercy did not live in the big house. 2 houses, one powered by influence and wealth, one powered by fear and poverty. Then came the birthday. The night power chose its victim. Watch out for part 2. Because when the music stopped that night, someone had to take the fall. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss part 2 when it drops. The truth is just getting started.